professionals, leaders, open-minded, innovative, creative, and that was enough as a leavening force in the convention to make it forward-looking and really reformist. So now, or 2010, let's spend as much time as we can to debate the issues of charter change, and particularly federalism.
Now, we have another question, Bettina.
Yes, we have here a comment from another of our viewers. What our country needs is not a change in the form of government, but a change in the hands that run it.
You know, this is a question that I hear all the time. And Dr. Beva, as someone who's studied our political system so intensely, how do the rules of the game affect behavior? I mean, this is essentially the question, whether we should reform ourselves first,
yes,
and that will change things, or what effects do the rules themselves have on the way people act?
Well, institutions are very important. The family as an institution, the church as an institution, schools as institutions, government, different parts of government as institutions. We cannot fulfill our goals in life, realize our objectives, provide services, welfare for people, and so on, except through institutions of government. So institutions are extremely important. And we should improve people, educate them, train them, raise the level of their morality, their love of country, and so on. The schools are there, the churches are there, families are there to improve our character, our knowledge and education and so on. But the institutions of government make a lot of difference. The rules of the game make a lot of difference.
Because they bind everyone who participates.
That's right.
In it.
For example, when you remove many powers from the national government, like agriculture, labor, education, public works, and so on, away from the national government and give them to the states and the local governments, that's a lot of change. People in the provinces and in the localities will be closer to the
And essentially
governance.
they have to fix their own problems themselves.
Yes.
They can't blame it on
That's
someone
right.
else. This is another question you raised, Bettina?
Yes, Manolo, we got this question through text. His name is Lowell T. He asks, will federalism decrease corruption?
It will bring government closer to the people and enable the people in the provinces and the cities to watch their officials, their leaders, more closely. Officials who will have more power and more resources at their disposal.
Though it's fair to say that it depends on the people whether they'll be interested in doing that or not.
Well,
in other words, it's
yeah.
no silver bullet.
No. But the people will say, so you have money now. You brought them down from Manila. So now you have more power. Now you have more authority. You can make more decisions. Okay. We want to take part in your making these decisions. We want to know, we want to tell you what we need. Manila is so far away, but you're closer to us.
Dr. Gueva, this question, which Bettina is going to read you, is very interesting.
The question is, you forgot to mention that the U.S. State Department is actively promoting the change to federalism to protect investments in Mindanao.
Is this true?
I don't know about that. That's an allegation, I think. Whoever says that should prove it.
That sounds like a government thing of bring it to court. But no, seriously, because
No.
this other question which is coming in is something I've wanted to bring up. And Bettina?
The question is, Spain went from highly centralized to highly developed, but many of its new region don't know what to do with themselves.
You know, Dr. Gueva, before, let's explain to our viewers that this centralized, highly sort of inefficient system we have is always been blamed as a legacy from Spanish colonial rule. And it's very interesting to see how the Spaniards themselves, once the dictatorship of Franco was abolished, actually tried to find a way. They called it many things, fiscal federalism, and they were building autonomous regions. This question by our viewer says, though, that the problem is that many of these regions are now have cash and don't know what to do with it. Is this a...
No, they are not awash with with cash. They are very poor. Many of our regions are poor. And
No, but speaking of the Spanish example, because this is a model...
in the Spanish example,
Yeah.
that's a very good example, because the demand for power and authority and resources came from the rebel regions, the Basque, the Catalans, and so on. This was, of course, an offshoot of the centralization
Yes.
under Franco. So it's just like the Moros, no? They've been fighting for decentralization, for devolution of powers. And if we set in motion the process of creating autonomous regions, there will be demand for the transfer of power and resources and so on. And so we will, by just saying we'll federalize, we'll have autonomous regions, you open up the minds of people.
And people stop feeling trapped and
Yes, and stop feeling hopeless that Manila is so far, so unreachable.
we have a question from
Yes,
our
Manolo, we have a question here from Dan.
Hello po. Sir, sa tingin niyo po, ano po yung conditions na kailangan muna masatisfy before we can move to federalism? Kasi parang ano po parang paano po natin nasasabi na kailangan natin mag-shift? Kasi po, from the way I know, ERMM was established because most of the people there are Muslims. So somehow they need to be autonomy in a way since iba yung culture nila. Then CAR was established
Cordillera.
because geographically constrained sila. May mga mountains doon. So yung basic needs is hindi mabilis madala sa kanila. So somehow kailangan nila ng autonomy. So ang question ko po is, ano po yung mga conditions na tinitingnan natin para po masabi natin na kailangan natin mag-shift sa federalism?
Ito na nga sabihin mo, okay, maaari na ang mga tao sa iba't ibang mga rehiyon sa ating bayan ay makapagpetisyon, no? Na mabigyan sila ng sapat na kapangyarihan at otoridad at saka pera, no? So magtatanong na yung mga leader nila, no? O sige, kami gusto namin maging autonomous, kami nga sa Ilocandia o kami sa Bicolandia. So subukan natin, no? Kaya magkakaroon tayo ng karanasan sa yung tinatawag nating devolution o decentralization. Sa ngayon, hawak ang kapangyarihan at ang otoridad sa Maynila, no, sa national government. Naranasan na natin dahil sa Local Government Code, no, yung of 1991, authored by Senator Pimentel. After devolving some powers and resources, many regions have been able to improve themselves. So, if you give them a chance to petition for more resources, more authority, more power, they will, I think, assert they'll take the opportunity of doing it.
Manolo, there's another question here through text. The question is, now senators win by popularity, but in the federal system, the areas will easily see who really has the skills.
You know, first I have to venture an opinion here, and I don't know what you'll say, Dr. Abueva, because there's no guarantee that senators will not win by popularity in a region. In fact, it may be easier for them to win because it will be their bailiwicks. And this is a question. One concerns Dr. Abueva is that, for example, the proposal to break up the Senate and elect it by region will eliminate the national perspective that is in many ways the whole reason we had a nationally elected Senate in the first place. And that there is a concern that we cannot set aside, that instead of serving to move the country forward, this will actually help break the country apart.
No, I think this idea that only nationally elected officials can think about the country and the future is not true. Take in the United States, for example, they elect their senators by states. It depends on one's education and one's experience in governance. your outlook is determined by those factors.